views and opinions expressed by callers, guests, and hosts do not necessarily reflect those of the Black Talk Radio Network and Black Talk Media Project. Black Talk Radio is new black media for the new millennium.
Gold dinar would have had serious consequences for the world financial system, but may also have empowered the people of Africa, something black activists say the US wants to avoid at all costs.
We're slicing cake. We're slicing cake. We're slicing cake.
Say the US wants to avoid at all costs.
We're slicing cake.
Say the US wants to avoid at all costs.
We're slicing.
Gaddafi didn't give up. In the months leading up to the military intervention, he called on African and Muslim nations to join together to create this new currency that would rival the dollar and euro. They would sell oil and other resources around the world only for gold dinars. It's an idea that would shift the economic balance of the world. Countries' wealth would depend on how much gold they have, not how many dollars they trade. And Libya has 144 tons of gold.
Welcome everyone to Tando Radio Show, brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. I am your host, Dave from LA, and we have a live show for you today. Today is Tuesday, January the 17th, 2016, and I just want to thank you all for listening to Tando Radio Show, and I would definitely say, hey, if you'd like to get in on the conversation today or any other day with Tando, you can do that by calling 866-510-9025, 866-510-9025, then hit **. We'll see you in queue, or if we're in the middle of something, you could just say, excuse me. We'll see that you're there, and because I would definitely love to get to you, because that's, our callers and the callers are so important, not only to me but to other callers, because you actually help them in so many ways, because it's a different perspective, it's a different way, and it's very important that we have dialogues about things so that we can. If we can't have dialogues about things, then we really won't be able to. I don't think if we don't have dialogue about things, then it really doesn't put us in a position to do much about anything, because that is a entry point. So if you have any questions or comments, never ever feel embarrassed or concerned about calling here into Tando Radio Show. We actually appreciate your calls. We really, really do. It helps us in so many ways to see, where we are, what some of the things that we need to do. Even if you want to criticize, constructive criticism is always welcomed, and even any form of criticism. I don't take things personally at all. I think it's very, very, very important. So if you leave time, I would love to, because that just tells us that this show is relevant to you, it's important to you, and it's something that you feel that is necessary for it to do as well for the network itself. Call in, be a part of it all, because this is all about us. So give us a call at 866-510-9025 and hit *. We'll see you in queue. Or if you we continue with the show while you're in you could just while you're in the queue, you could just say excuse me. That way we'll know that you're there. So looking forward to talking to you all. Also, everyone, continue to support Black Talk Radio Network. You can do that by going to the website for Black Talk Radio Network. That's blacktalkradioNetwork.com. And there at the website, you can look in the far right-hand margin. You can see the icon, the green icon of the holding hands that's used. You can use that to actually give some of your financial energy to the network, so the network can continue to be vibrant, to continue to grow, continue to be here for you, continue to be here for your family, and continue to be here for those that you have yet not named. Very, very important, so that this network and all the programs that are brought to you by this network is continuously growing. So give some of your financial energy, because that is what is needed to nurture and to develop and to grow this network and this platform. So very, very important. Also, while you're there at the website, if you are a social media light, where you actually engage in social media activities, why not join BTR Community? That's brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. And you can do that by going down to the further down in the far right-hand margin. You'll see a B that's there, and that stands for BTR Community. Or you can use your browser and go to www.btrcommunity.com. Once again, that's www.btrcommunity.com. And what you have there is a social media platform that Black Talk Radio Network has put together for you, so that you can engage in all of your social media activities without worrying about you being adversely affected by anything that you post, any of the comments that you make, by you promoting different opinions and agendas, or if you want to bring some form of attention to yourself or your business, to highlight your business or some event that's going on in your community, or an event that's going on somewhere in the world that you want to give recognition to and to make known. Definitely, you could do that by being a part of the BTR Community members, and it's only $24 a month. $24 a year. Sorry about that, Scotty. $24 a year. That is for BTR Community, and there you don't have to worry about your identity being sold to anyone, nor do you have to worry about, like we said earlier, adversely being affected. And it is a social media platform that was made just for you. Also, if you like to save as a king, or save as a king or a queen, or save as a lady and a gentleman, the only real savings plan that really does work, ladies and gentlemen, is one in which you engage in real money. And you can do that by going to Prosperity Mint, PROSPERITYMINT.com, Prosperity Mint. And there you can see what's in inventory, and you can start to save in real money. And that's going to be very, very important in the coming times, weeks, days, months, in the year. For sure. You want to save, and one of the things that we definitely need to learn within our community, we have to learn the difference between currency and money. There is no money. Cash is not money. Cash is not money. Cash is just a coupon. It's a note. And you need to know what that means to you and your family, how that is adversely affecting you and your family. And if you don't know, things will continue the way that they are, and you would think that everything is okay when they're not. You're actually your energy is actually being siphoned and stolen from you and used for someone else's gain and not for your gain, by giving you a piece of paper, a note saying that this here is worth something when it's really not. And it's very, very important that you understand how the dynamics of that work. And if at any time you have any questions about that, in any way that you feel about it, definitely give us a call, 866-510-9025, 866-510-9025, especially, it doesn't matter if you agree or disagree. If you disagree, man, I would love to hear from you. I will always be polite to you, and I don't have a at your throat mentality. I know a lot of people with their opinions, they've been taught to actually argue their opinions about different things, and there's always that, at the thinking that the best winner is the loudest one, and is always at someone's throat. No, that's not, in my opinion, that's not the way to be. But if you agree to that, hey, I can handle anything you say or anything that you do. I can handle it. So definitely give us a call, or if you would like to elaborate on it or talk about it, don't hesitate. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you, and it's so necessary and needed that we do that. Okay, so let's jump into what's in the news. Didn't post that many things, but what we did post, I think they're very important and very important for you. First article that we posted, and this article actually came from, let's set it up a little different. Let me get here. This one came from Dr. Axe. It wasn't the first one, but it's one of the ones, draxe.com. 10 bad mood foods. Yes, poor nutrition causes depression. So check out that article. I think that's very, very important. Check that one out. Next article. This one comes from RT. This one comes from RT. 1 second. You got to excuse my dad will call while I'm on air, knowing that I'm on air, just, some of the things that we do. But, hey, that's what your dad and your mom do. They'll interrupt you and say, hey, I don't care what you're doing. I need to talk to you. So, Dad, I'll get with you in a minute. All right, so next article comes from RT, and that's Russia Today International. It's glove off. It says, RT says, it's gloves off if Trump continues his Taiwan line as president. The China Daily warns. China has hit out at the U.S. president-elect over his Taiwan policy. Again, in an editorial in the States Daily, the Times says it's gloves off if Trump does not stop supporting if Trump does not supporting Taiwan. And so check out that article. The next article comes from RT as well. And that one is Putin. I don't know Trump personally, have no grounds to attack or protect him. Thought it was pretty funny that they posted that. And what is, it's so funny. I tell people that I'm not available from certain times because I'm on air, and they still call. Let me. Sorry about this, all. Let me just. 1 second. Sorry about that, everyone. And didn't mean to, but it never fails. I seem to always, and it's from people that I know. They know I'm on air. So, all right. So, next article from RT. No, sorry, we did that one. Okay. Pushed off my train of thought. This one comes from Reuters. Very, very important. So, but before I did that, I got knocked off because of the calls. The RT story, Putin. Let me tell you something about this whole thing that you're seeing right now. This is the system invoking itself for its agenda against you and I and everyone else. And very, very important that we know these things, okay? So, and I'm going to just tell you this. There's a perception that the Soviet Union was abolished in the 90s because they lost. That's not the case at all. Never has been, never will be. But it served the agenda of those that want to maintain control. And that is going to play out in such a way in the future where there's going to be a transferring of power from what the perceived is it's a ceremonial thing. Let me just make that clear. The ceremonial change of power is just that. It's a ceremony. It has no real relevance because the power structure has never, ever been threatened by what you see geopolitically, economically, religiously, regardless of what you think. It's never been challenged. Religion has actually been put in place to foster and to aid and abet and to have a fundamental stronghold in your overall control. And it's not in the way in which you think. It's actually being used completely against you in all forms and all fashions. Why? Because it's an effective tool. Same thing with what's going on geopolitically. Now, I do think that one of the things that I do think is that you can get an idea of what's to come so that you can protect yourself, your family, and your overall community. Not your job to protect everyone. Some people really do want to be a part of this system, and they want freedom from this system or from within this system because that's what they think freedom lies. And I'm going to tell you, there is no such thing as freedom. None whatsoever. That was actually a word that was created to give you the perception that you are independent and sovereign, self-determining. Not at all. freedom, you always have to, freedom, they tell you, freedom don't come free. There's always a price for it. And they tell you that because they want to make sure that you pay your toll. And that freedom that they give you is a perception of freedom or an exception of having the ability to do what's in your best interest while you don't even know you're still serving the same master that you wanted to break away from. This is all a part of what's been put into place to give us the perception of things that don't exist. And then we create a reality. I always like to say that dreams have a way of turning into nightmares, and nightmares have a way of becoming reality. So check out that article with talking about Putin with RT, but always read between the lines. Next article, and this is definitely one as well, came from Reuters. And my commentary on this was war, the disinformation program and jurisprudence of generational divestors. That's what it's all about. They create a legal system that divests you of your birth abilities. It totally gets you to divest yourself from your birth ability. Because your birth abilities, your created abilities were given to you so that you can use them in a way that benefits you. But some of us decide to use our birth abilities and give them to someone else, and then guess what? Nothing changes is because we actually give into this system. Even though we're deceived into it, we think that we're getting something else, and the key to magic is not to trick you, but to make you believe. They made you believe that freedom came by the pen of man's hand, that they've written into law about something that is in your best interest. And that is such a lie. So check out this article. This was a really good article because it tells me that they're ready to switch the overall appearance of power. The moonlight is going to shine on another land of favor. And if you know anything about moonlight, there is no such thing as moonlight. None whatsoever. Germany, and the article says, this came from Reuters, Germany says NATO concerned about Trump's obsolete remarks. And this came from Brussels. The foreign minister said on Monday that the U.S. President-elect Trump comments that NATO was obsolete had aroused concern around the 28-member alliance. Speaking after a meeting with Alliance Secretary General in Brussels, said Trump's remarks contradict views expressed by designated defense security James Mattis. And I'm telling you, everyone, the destabilization and the overall war program is always. Do you really remember? I mean, if you really would think about it, you've been in a continuous state of war since you were physically born into this paradigm in all forms, in all fashions. And why? Because it is a great tool to control people, to surrender their free will, their energy, and to surrender their talents and abilities. So very important. So next article, really good one. This one came from Sputnik News. China ramps up rail diplomacy in Africa, seeking power projections. And this article says, let me pull this. Is this the one I want to pull up real quick? Yes, it is. Okay, here we go. China encouragement to African countries to sign up on the One Belt, One Road initiative, which is nothing more than the reestablishing of the spice trades, the Silk Roads, and many other trades from the ancient times or the times of the past, where they engaged in open trade globally with many tribes of the indigenous. But let's check out this article. Initiative is being ably supported by Beijing railway diplomacy on the continent, an expression of its military as well as its economic potential. A 750-kilometer line built by China linking the Horn of Africa, very important, the Horn of Africa, to countries inland was officially launched on January the 10th in Djibouti. China and Djibouti is one of the few places that China has a military outpost in the world. And why do you think that is? Goes back to a very long time ago. But the article continues. Oh, and they're actively fighting the U.S. there with hot confrontation because the U.S. has a very large military intelligence base that's there, and bunkers that are there that are used to control the theater of operation, the continuous state of war. Goes on. China is continuing the construction of a military facilities in this, a small country situated on the Horn of Africa Peninsula. It is the second transnational railway built by China companies in Africa following the Tunisian-Zimbabwe Railroad. Foreign Minister Ying is on a visit to Madagascar, Zambia, Tunisia, Congo, Nigeria on January the 7th through the 12th. And on Sunday, he called on African countries to move this down, to deepen cooperation and construction of a new Silk Road comprising the land-based Silk Road Economic Belt, known as SREB. The Silk Road Economic Belt, a maritime Silk Road. He stressed that Africa has historically been a part of the Silk Road Economic Belt. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you, that is something that is going to be a line of contention as we go into this overall demise of the debt-based economy is going to be an asset-based economy. And I hate to tell you, if you don't have assets, they plan on smashing you. And by smashing you, they know that you will be beholden to their system and you will be surrendering all of your talents and abilities and begging for just the mere morsels just to survive. And that is what you will be happy and satisfied. Let them eat cake. That is the whole system here. So check out this article. Very, very important one that you should really read between the lines on. There is going to be, and why Africa, ladies and gentlemen? Because it's the only continent that's anchored to the Earth's crust. And all other ones broke off from there. This is where the indigenous line starts. And everyone else made their overall travels and migration from there. And they settled the whole world. And in the past, they had different trade routes that they had. And yes, there were problems and everything else. But one of the things that was critical was that people had, in different times, sometimes people had more sovereignty and self-determination, especially than what they do now. But at other times, that was always challenged because that's always been a part of this overall program. Because there are some people and some living entities that want to steal your energy for their own use. And this is something that has to be won first by you individually. And that has a lot to do with today's show. So check out that article. So let's check out, today's show. Speaking of that, today's show is, where are you? Where are you? Do we live in a state of being or by feel and feelings? Do we live in a state of being or by feel and feelings? That's what the topic of today's show is going to be about, and I think it's very, very important for us to ask that question. And I think it's important for you to ask that question. Now, one of the things is that for me, I can feel, but I never ever have any feelings in my decision making. I try not to have that. I try to move that away from myself as much as I possibly can, because I think that we've been schooled and taught to live our lives in a physical state, so that we diminish our spiritual being, our spiritual existence. We diminish that because we give more energy and more focus and more emphasis on our physical feels and feelings. A lot of times now someone will ask me, how do I feel today? Someone will ask me how I feel today. And my response is always now, I always feel the same. My spirit is prospering. Because I really do. I always feel the same. I don't put too much emphasis on how I feel. But the system that we've been taught always wants us to look at everything from a feeling and from a feel standpoint. Think about, they want us to be beholden to what they see, to everything that we see, so that they can have a stage for you to look at. They always want you to feel something. Oh, I feel good, or I feel this and I feel that, so that you always give energy to that. Because how you feel then will always dictate the decisions that you make. And if you're constantly in a state of feeling and instead of a state of being, you're always in a state of feeling, you're in the most, probably the weakest existence of your life. Brother Davis laid it out pretty well last week, said that our dreams are more a reality than our awoken moments. Because have you ever noticed in your dream, you can't taste food, you can't feel pain? Because when you can taste food and you can feel pain, that has an influence in your overall decision making. But see, in your dream state, I always say it's a state of your true being. Have you ever noticed in your dream, you can actually, your ability to love is even stronger than in your physical? And also, your ability to have fear in something is just as bad and even can be even worse. And I think that is, and without the overall physical touch to it all, your spirit is able to reach different heights and resonate extremely high, or it can resonate extremely low. And that is really a choice of yours. So I would challenge all of you, the next time that you fall asleep, take control of your environment that you were there in. Because when you constantly live by feelings, the system has taught you not to pay attention to that, but to only pay attention to, oh, it was just a dream. You don't need to worry about it. Don't worry about that. It was just a dream. No. Nothing is just coincidental or just. That dream state is more realistic of who you really are, not your awakened moments in your physical. That can be easily manipulated and coerced in your own adverse interests, very easily. And I would always say, your feelings and your sense of to hear, your sense to see, your sense to smell, those physical attributes, when you give too much attention to those, then what happens is that your decision making will only be based off of a show me state of mind. Show me, and believe me, the black magic and the sorcery that this system has. They will show you holograms. They will have lights, camera, and someone will say action, and then they will say cut. The camera and the makeup will come off and everything else, but you'll think it's reality. You'll think it's reality because you saw it with your lying eye. And you touched it with your sense of feel that really is more in tune to your low frequency self instead of your higher frequency self. You know, one thing that I like to do is that I'm careful of anything that man can teach you. Because if it doesn't resonate with my spirit, I don't care what master degree or anything else that they have or they've been doing. It doesn't really matter with me because it doesn't resonate with my spirit. My spirit is the benchmark of everything. My spirit is the benchmark of my past and my ancient past. I was talking to Brother Braggs today, and I was saying to Brother Braggs says, yo, Dave, how do we come up with this stuff? How do we know this stuff? And said to Brother Braggs, because Brother Braggs, the ancients that we're talking about ourselves. Yes, us individually. That's just my belief. That's just who I am. And my man said, yes, Scotty. I tell you, I'm not a respecter of person. I respect people. My man Scotty said, that means you are not a respecter of title and letters bestowed on men by men. Very true. And I'm going to tell you, sometimes you ever heard, I was talking to someone, and they said, David, that's not a word. And Scotty makes a very good point here. Someone said to me, and I'm going to read this other thing that Scotty put up also. Someone said to me, David, that's not a word. And I purposely did that. Yes. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that. So someone in the house was calling me. Someone said to me, David, that's not a word, and I purposely used it. I said, oh, it's not? I said, why do you say that? Well, now, David, you know that's not a word. That's some made up. Don't talk that way. I said, okay, well, why isn't it a word? They said because it's not English. It's not proper English, and I bust out laughing. Not proper English. Well, what is proper English? It's defined by the dictionary. I said, okay, cool. I said, so you're going to surrender your abilities to communicate, and you can only communicate by the way that man has dictated you to communicate by their writing themselves in a book known as Webster's Dictionary. Have you ever thought about every word in Webster's Dictionary is made up? Every single word is made up. But see, it's made up for whose benefit? Who benefits from that? Now, if you know anything about language, the key is not making up words. The key is communicating. So I said to this person, it's a case in point. If there was a snake, a poisonous snake next to you, and I used a word, 3-letter words, you can fill it in. If there was a poisonous snake next to you, and I uttered a word that you declared not being a word, so you wouldn't respond to what I said, and you wouldn't get the message, and you wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be able to convey and communicate to you that you're in danger and you need to move out the way. So you tell me that you're just going to sit there. They say, no, of course not. That would be stupid. I said, so it's just as equally stupid for you not to accept the communications of people outside of what the system has told you that is proper. So don't let people trick you. Don't let people fool you. Just because someone else has bought the program doesn't mean that you have to. And one of the things is funny about so-called school people is that they're foolish in their overall thought process in so many ways. They are only speaking and they are trying to have themselves accepted by someone that does not have their best interest at hand. The schools you went to, the colleges and degrees and universities that you went to, they don't care about you. They never have cared about you. They want you to surrender yourself to the overall establishment. Now, has it done some good? Let me tell you, it doesn't matter how much good is done if this intent has always been to maintain the evil status quo of what it is. So don't give me that there is anything good about it. I say no. I say not only no, I say hell no. Nothing good about it. Because his intentions and his purpose is clear. So, if you can communicate with someone, that's the most important thing. And your overall intelligence is not based by someone that's trying to subjugate and enslave you by what they say. If you believe that and you live by that, then there's something that you are going to have to battle with, and you're going to be battling your overall mental enslavement of yourself. And one of the things that they'll do is that they'll trick you by giving you falsehoods of feeling. They'll build up your self-esteem by giving you a degree and giving you a title and all this other stuff. And guess what? That degree and that title ain't going to save you at all. If anything, it's just going to bring you some momentary comforts in their system. But in today's world, how many people with so many different that have given themselves over to the system, how many of their children have been adversely affected in so many ways? The same as everyone else. You may think that by doing something that the system says is in your best interest, that you're going to get somewhere, but see, by you thinking that you are actually getting somewhere, you will think that you have arrived. And lo and behold, you too are poisoned by the same food. You too are poisoned by the same water. Your children are also intoxicated by the same vaccinations. You too will be the lamb that will go to slaughter at the appropriate time. You too are just an object that's used in their method to obtain the ways and means. Your way of life becomes their means of life. And they are using your talents for their overall good. And you prosper nothing. They give you coupons. They pay you coupons. And at the appropriate time, I'm going to tell you, there were some very well-educated people in Venezuela, in Mexico, in India, in Russia. And when those economies collapsed, they were adversely affected. And guess what? Their overall personship did not save them. Never has, never will. The thing is, you have to know where we are in society to see where the overall trends in ebb and flow are. And right now, I'm going to tell you, the trend right now in the ebb and flow is that there are many people that are going to be surprised by the system. They're going to say, I thought I thought I was immune. And you're not. Because that's the system of feeling. They make you feel a certain way. They play to your overall ego to facilitate their agenda. The overall agenda is to get you to surrender your abilities for their benefit. Ways and means, as we always say. So, my man Scotty said, a lot of people in their feelings considering I just got a bad word for pointing out. He said, I just got called a bad word, and you can figure out what the 5-letter bad word was, for pointing out that John Lewis sold out to the system a long time ago in the name of legislation. He supported that upheaval. I mean, he supported and upheld the system and the mistreatment of people. Scotty's absolutely right. I'm going to give you my opinion on this whole thing, and it's just my opinion. They put leaders in front of you so they'll make you feel good. Because when you feel good, you ever notice, ladies and gentlemen, that you're inebriated and drunk? Do you know that anger can actually inebriate you? It can actually put you in a state of incoherence where you're not coherent at all. Do you know that anger can even give you a high? Do you know that anger can confuse and disorientate your better judgment? So can, just as equally, so can being inebriated in the wine of splendor. What do I mean by the inebriated of the wine of splendor? They put all of these people out in front of you, put cameras in front of them, and they put them in different, in their Sunday's best and everything else, and they tell them they find the people that have different talents, and they say to them, hey, a long way. And how you know this happens is that, remember, we played it here when there was an attempt to get Malcolm to get on the payroll. And if Malcolm had decided to get on the payroll when they offered it to him, Malcolm would be an old man today. King, if he would have settled for the payroll and would have settled for what the system wanted him to do, he would be an old man today. But sometimes some people decide that, no, there isn't anything that you can give me. And I know one thing for me, there isn't anything that the system can give me because I have no feelings for it. I maintain my overall state of being. And my state of being is never, ever looking to get anything from the system. Because I realize my true self goes way beyond my feelings. My overall meditative state does not require for me to sit down anywhere and be motionless. My overall meditative state of being goes with me everywhere because I have a place for it. I create a place for it. So I can be talking to you. I can be walking or everything. I will always be in a constant state of being and never in a state of feelings or to feel. I don't give much emphasis to that anymore. I give more emphasis to resonating much higher in the state of being because I realized something a while ago. And what I realized a while ago was that you and I are much more powerful than what we've been told and what we've been lied and deceived into thinking. And the biggest hindrance that we have is ourselves. And until we realize who we truly are, then we will continue to be led with the leash of leaders that are on the payroll. for their feelings. And I'm going to tell you, it's not comfortable, but it's still true. You won't always be comfortable, but you'll still always be true. Because there is no comforting measure in feelings. That's just a misconception. How do you feel today? I feel okay. Well, your overall sensations of feelings can change, but your state of being should never. Your state of being is eternal. Your ability to touch may be lost. There's some people that lose the ability to see, the ability to hear. I see you, Brother Davis. We're going to come to you in 1 second. Your ability to speak, your ability to hear. I don't hear as well as I used to hear. Those things are the senses of the physical that diminish over a short period of eternity. But your eternal state is never blind, never not able to pick up the tones or frequencies. And it's up to you how you're going to resonate. Either resonate high or resonate low. It's up to you. And I'm going to tell you, this ability has always been with you if you would just stop ignoring it. And Hollywood has a way of telling you, and they created this perception of when you have arrived. Ladies and gentlemen, you never left. You've always been here. The ancestors that we talk about, do you realize that you're that ancestor from that past? This is why you know things without someone even telling you or teaching you or giving you the okay for you to think that way. The truth lies straight within you because you were perfectly made. So we need to make all of the perfect state of being resonant. And it's up to you. You can resonate high, you can resonate low. You could be a great, great manipulator. You can be a great destroyer. Or you can be a great builder. It's always up to you. Hey, we got Brother Davis that's here. Just before we go to the break, definitely want to go to him. Brother Davis, what's going on? No, it's not Brother Davis. Brother Braggs, what's going on? Sort of wrong one.
Peace. Hey, Dad, you rolling. Let me do one thing. I just want to hit you with the frequency one time.
Yep.
I just want to push on the frequency because you way up there, brother. I just had to do that.
Brother Braggs, I couldn't hear you.
I was saying, you on that frequency so high. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The things you're saying, you know that we had this conversation this morning, and everything that you say is true. Because I asked Dave straight out, Dave, where does this stuff come from? Sometimes, I'm a human man, there's nothing special about me. The ideas that come to my head, a lot of the ideas are not mine. I'll be wondering where they come from. But
yeah.
As Dave just finished telling you, we are our ancestors, and our DNA plugs us into things that we really don't realize just how, like he told you, how powerful we really are. Anytime you can make from unmanifested nothing to manifested objects right in front of you from a thought, you know you're a powerful being.
Yes.
We don't look at it like that. We don't look at our ideals come out of the thin air, we make them manifest into material objects. You were talking about the speech, and I was thinking when you were saying that. We talk about spells, you were talking about Hollywood. Hollywood, that stick that they use to cast the spells, the wand, it's made out of Hollywood. That Hollywood is from the Jews. You know what I'm saying? And then the spells that we weave, they use sigil magic on a dollar bill. I'm saying I've been studying stuff so tough. Some of the stuff that be rolling in my head, I know where I got it from because I was talking to a guy today, and he was talking about Jesus Christ, and I was telling him that Jesus Christ was in the order of Melchizedek. He was like, what? When I read so much, all this, look, when you start studying us, you're going to find out all types of stuff, all types of things, because that's who we are. We the makers, the owners, the creators, the mothers and fathers of all manifestations.
So, Brother Braggs, make sure that you keep, hey, Brother Braggs, because you're saying, the things you're saying is so important. Make sure you keep are you using a Bluetooth or something? If not, make sure you keep
my headpiece on my head. I'm not moving, so I don't know why it's going in and out.
Yeah, it's probably, it may just be, wearing out or something. So, because your speech is erratic. Sometimes it's good, we can hear you good, and sometimes we can't.
Okay. Yeah, but I'm not moving. I'm trying to be, I'm still. But that's the conversation we had this morning. I just be tripping on some of it,
No, we can hear you good now. Yeah. And it's so important because remember what we talked about this morning. I want you to tell some of the people about when you said who we are and why that's so important. And if you would, brother Bragg, tell everyone who you identify we are.
I got alchemy stuck in my head because we talked about this. Now, when I say alchemy, alchemy is when you change base metals into precious metals, from a lead to a gold, from a lead to a platinum, from a lead to whatever the highest metals are. Now, in the situation that we live in, what the alchemists are doing in the laboratory, they're changing our composition with the food that they feed us because they're feeding us GMOs, genetically modified organisms. If you eat these genetically modified organisms, it changes your constitution, period. If you eat junk, it changes your constitution because you are what you eat. Everything that we eat should have frequency. And so guess what I'm saying? Everything you eat basically should be like plant-based. Plants have frequency. If you eat dead things, it has no frequency. They killed it and they took the soul out of it. So this is what these alchemists do. But you probably wouldn't think of it that way. But see, this is how things are striking. So I'm just sharing with you what I see. If you see something different, share with me. It'll understand me.
Wait, brother Brad, hold on. You said that something that was so important. Now, there was, and every once in a while, the system will come out and say some different things about what they just found. And there's a caller in Denver. Hold on one second, caller in Denver. I'm going to come right to you in 1 second. And one of the things is that they're saying now is that, and I verify everything in my spirit, first and foremost. And so they were saying that people are basically made up of stardust and materials that are found throughout the whole universe.
Yep. That's fine.
And that's very, very, very important. That is so true. This is so true. They know it's just Brother Bragg said. They take part of alchemy is that you're changing one state to another, and that's what they've been doing for so long. And the desired state is for you to be in a state of surrenderance. But
now
you don't
that's the
have
physical.
to be.
Now tell them about that consciousness. Now don't forget the conscious state because they could do alchemy with the conscious state too.
Yeah.
From your lower self
Definitely.
to your higher self, from your dead level to your raised self.
Yeah, and
many ways.
It does go many ways. And, the key to this whole thing is that, in my opinion, is that your true state of being is a frequency. It's an energy. And I always try to listen to my overall frequency and how I do it. And we got a call in Denver, Brother Bragg. We're going to go to them in 1 second. Don't hang up.
Yes, sir.
Stay right
yes,
there.
Sir.
One of the ways that I do it is I try to get as quiet as I can, lightly put my fingers inside of my ear, and then there's a hum that you hear. And that's your frequency, in my opinion. And I focus on that, and I try to get that as vibrating as high as I possibly can. Then it doesn't matter, just like I posted earlier in Tando, that your food can lead to your depression. Well, see, if you resonate high enough, nothing can lead to your depression. So very, very important. So we got a caller in queue. Hold on, brother. There's a caller out of the 720 area code. Caller from 720 area code. What's your name, where you're calling from, and what's your question or comment?
Hi, this is Angela calling from Denver. And I just wanted to say again, how are you guys doing? I love the show. I'm always listening, and I'm actually vibing right now on a higher frequency. just listening to the show and listening to you get into all these about us being made of the stardust. And, I mean, it's just amazing, all the information. And I'm always trying to hear Brother Braggs. I'm always trying to hear all those nuggets that he's got. And his phone is always, or his system is always going in and out. But I'm still hanging in there. I'm listening hard when you start talking, Brother Braggs. Thank you so much, David and Scott and Brother Braggs.
I'm going to clean it up.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys, and you don't know how much you uplift my week. My whole week, I'm waiting to listen to you guys every day. Thank you so much.
Oh, sister, much love, much respect. And let me tell you, we're so critical about that because with every person that listens to Tando Radio Show, even though we've never met, but we've never not known each other as well. And we all resonate in a different way. That's why you're here. And we appreciate you. And Sister Angela out of Denver, I'm going to tell you, Brother Braggs is, as you already know, he does drop a bunch of nuggets at all times. But what's so important about it is that you and I, we all have that same ability and that same beauty to resonate at a high frequency. It doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter what happens in the next 10, 15 minutes. If you're in a state of being, it doesn't matter because you will respond from a frequency state that's higher than what is ever that you're faced with. And then your decisions from that will resonate high. I always say that most things you can't control. 99% of things that happen to you, you can't control. But the most important thing that you can control is your reaction to what has happened to you. And most people, they respond to that by feeling. Why? Because they've been taught to respond to the low frequency of deception, by pain, by happiness, by sadness, but by the state of physical feeling. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. You've never experienced any form of love like you have by resonating. Some of you and many of you have, and you know it for yourself. It's the purest and most sincere thing that you can ever do because it's never compromised by anything physical and low frequency. Yeah, go ahead, Brother Bragg.
Operator, generator, protector, destroyer. You are an electromagnetical force. You put out a force field. And these are the things that you control with that force field. Your aura is electromagnetic. That's why you have a force field around. You may not think it, you may not notice it. In your bosom burns fire, the soul fire in your chest. See, this is things they don't teach us. This is ancient knowledge. We are sacred and we don't know it because we're taught to be profane. So everything that used to be godly now is profane. They got everything completely upside down. So you're in the midst of a bunch of madness. So what do? Do you acquiesce to the madness? Or do you settle yourself, balance yourself, and create the calm out of the chaos?
Hold on. One second, Brother Bragg. We got to get ready to go to a commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to come back to this because it's just so important. And this is really what preparing yourself for everything, it really starts. It really starts here. You're listening to Tando Radio Show brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. We're getting ready to go to a commercial break. We'll be right back after these quick commercial breaks.
podcasts, and live program scheduling, visit us on the web at blacktalkradionetwork.com.
Okay, welcome back, everyone, to Tando Radio Show, brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. I'm your host, Dave from LA, and would love to hear from you all. Give us a call at 866-510-9025, 866-510-9025, then hit ***. We'll see you in queue, and if we don't see you, just say excuse me. We'll definitely jump in. Just before we went to the commercial break, Brother Braggs was just talking about some of the things that he's found, and I'm going to tell you this. If you start to question within yourself, you will notice that will set you in a path of discovery back into your ancient past and into your predetermined by your energy future. And then you will find exactly what it is that you need. One of the things that I think that is in our best interest is to step away from everything that we've been taught. Let me just hear me while I say that. Step away from everything that we've been taught. Because you were perfectly created. Everything that you ever need is right there within you. You don't need validation from any other institution or any other person. You first need to recognize that you are a creator. And if you don't recognize that, you will be creating the environment for your own demise. And that's what this system tries to perpetuate. Talk to yourself in your state of being more. Search things out within your state of your being more, and you will see that there is nothing that is being hid from you. Everything is yours. You now work into your birth abilities, and then you'll start to see the things that you feel, the aches and pains that you feel physically, the sorrow that you feel physically, that no longer has the sting or the captive ability of your decision making anymore. And wow. Now you're really moving. So, listen, we got another caller, and it's my man. Man, I haven't heard from this brother in a little bit. Brother Bragg, was that you, Brother Bragg? We got another caller.
Yeah. I just wanted to say this, Dave. When you having that conversation, what is that voice? Where did that voice come from that's answering everything that you pose to yourself? Who is answering you in there? That's that divine mind in there.
Right.
Pay attention to it.
That divine energy.
All you got to do is
that state of being. And I'm going to tell you, man is going to trick you and say that it's something else because they want to distract you from the capability and the credibility of you. Because then when that happens, you always go to the system for your answers. Hold on, Brother Bragg, because we gotta come back with that because that's very, very important. And we both know where we're going with that one. But we got another caller in queue, and it's my man TJ. I don't want to say, man, TJ, so long. What's going on, brother? What's going on?
Oh, ain't too much. What's up, Brother Dave? How you doing, my brother?
What up, T?
Hey, I also want to say what's up to Brother Bragg. What's happening, my brother?
Peace, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Hey, so the reason why I called in, I want to at least get some of y'all information on this. I think it was last week. I think it was the end of the week. We was talking about how all this madness began with our people, and I was trying to call in, but I didn't recognize I had to hit ***. But I was wondering if both of you brothers have heard of a book called The Golden Apple.
No, I haven't.
The Golden Apple. No, I haven't.
Yeah, you're going to make me look for it, though, no doubt.
Yeah, it's okay. I got turned on it by Infodisi. But the book, The Golden Apple, talks about symbolic thinking versus symptomatic thinking. And it was speaking to how mankind, well, I really don't really want to use that word, how our people, prior to the changing of the phenotype or the coming in the contact with any differentiation, was experiencing mental aberration, so to speak, on our own, which changed us from.
They could transport. You've been in those tablets from Naki or any of those MO tablets, any of those, man. That blows me away. That's a whole other conversation.
Right. But what I was trying to say, Brother Black, was the difference between how our thinking changed when we were a united people together versus a people separated at each other's throat. They were talking about the difference between symbolic thinking and symptomatic thinking, that a person who thinks symptomatically is going to lead you to the truth, because you look at events, actions as a part of a fluid event, an event that is fluid in a bigger picture, moving towards the truth of that event, as opposed to thinking symbolically, because man has the ability to take a symbol and flip the meaning of that symbol and get you to believe in the false meaning. So, for instance,
create a life and create a life form out of it.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead,
yes,
Tom.
sir.
That's right now. He's calling out just what it is. Everything is upside down.
Yeah. Like for instance, if you look at the swastika, you and I know the ancient knowledge behind the current modern day knowledge.
Good fortune.
Right. So what they're doing is, as opposed to, like, say for instance, you see a young brother walking down the street, and symbolically, the way we're thinking, they got us to look at him and image him and tell you exactly what's up with that brother just based off that symbolic image. But it is in no way telling you what's really up with that brother. Why is his pants sagging? Or why is a certain behavior, when we have to go to a symptomatic thinking, which lets me know that this brother's pants hanging off his bottom is a part of a bigger concept. It's a part of a bigger process. It's a part of a fluid process, and that will lead me to understanding why he's wearing his pants sagging, as opposed to symbolic thinking, to where I throw a symbol on you and you've been misprogrammed about what that symbol is, and boom, I got you thinking the way I want you thinking.
But remember this. When they're looking at that goofy box pushes the society into the way it wants to go. Even though society don't know there's a hand moving them, but that hand is subtly moving them because it's moving you unconsciously. That's why you should turn the TV off so you can cultivate your own ideals in your own head, because you don't know who's guiding you when you look at that goofy box. And they have done tests. If you go into mind control, see, when I started reading about mind control, it blew my mind. See, certain things, you wouldn't think that people spend this much time, but people spend a lot of time to control the masses.
Yeah.
Whether it be religion, whether it be politics, and whether it be entertainment, all forms of entertainment. Remember, when you're looking at the actors, the actors' symbols was a smiling face, 3 different masks with different looks. They had a fraternity or order. They pledged to a craft. That craft is to make you believe whatever it is that they're trying to project. So they work for people even bigger than us, because they use their energy to project that image that they want to put out to us all over the world at the same time to different demographics. Now, I'm going to stop because I'm running too fast. Peace.
No, but I feel you big time, Brother Black. I'm with you all the way. But that's what I was trying to call in to get you brothers' opinion on symptomatic thinking versus symbolic thinking. Because if we can move away from the symbolic thinking, like this cracker got us caught up on, because he's using symbols big time to control our mindset. And if we can remove ourselves from that and start realizing and understanding that we have to start recognizing and understanding that ain't nothing happening in a vacuum. And everything that is occurring is a part of something bigger and more fluid. And only way we're going to get to the truth of the matter is to look at it from that perspective. If we just caught up on symbols, if I believe the Ankh means, if somebody's teaching me and programming me that the Ankh means separation, then every time I see that Ankh, that's what I'm going to stand on. But if I have knowledge and information that gives me an understanding what these symbols are prior to this person being able to use them against me, then I got him. So that's why I want to get your opinion, Brother Dave and Brother Bragg, in the book Golden Apple, about symptomatic versus symbolic thinking.
Oh, man, hold on, Tommy, because you, as always, this is why I love my brother Tommy, man. This is why I love my brother Tommy, man. Tommy, man, don't be such a stranger, man. I miss talking to you, man. It's the iron sharpens iron, man. So you know what? And I want to just say this, and I want Tommy to elaborate on this, and I want people really, really to think about what Tommy is going to say. Symbolism. The symbolism that you see, in order for its sorcery power and its black magic to continue to have any effect, is that someone has to first notice it. It has no real existence when no one notices it at all. Because what you don't notice, you don't give energy to. And this is why the symbolism has to be first ingrained by schooling, and then it constantly gets reinforced. The lie of what they told us of how everything came about in history, everything that you've been taught in school and everything that you've been pretty much taught that has been institutionalized has been a lie. And they reinforce that by what Tommy exactly talked about. Symbolism, because I'm going to tell you, you resonate and you're so powerful. If there isn't a constant bombardment of symbolism about your everyday and reinforcing, you may start to do the deadliest thing and start thinking for yourself. And now, Houston, we got a problem. And then when the symbolism is no longer able to contain the masses, then they have to come in with symbolism that's being augmented by vaccinations, that's being augmented with different things that actually cause you to be in a state of inebriation that you don't resonate well with. They have to confuse and they have to change the chemistry. And this is why they have to poison the food. This is why they have to poison and get you to put fluoride in your mouth. Fluoride. Think about fluoride. It's a ride, homicide, pesticide, suicide. Right. It's a herbicide, fluoride. They get you to buy into these things. They get you to give energy to things that mean you harm. Individuals and institutions that mean you harm because you've been duly trained to sit, boo-boo, sit. And the symbolism is one of the things that's so critical. Now, I'm going to tell you, and I want Tommy, how important is this symbolism in the continuous? Because let me say, Tommy, you have a professional career, right? And there's a lot of people that are professional. If you don't use something, then you lose that ability, right? You forget, correct. And then sometimes you need to have a redoctrination to things, or to have a refresher, or what the world likes to have is in-service training. They got to retrain you, right?
Correct.
How important is this symbolism to us as parents in indoctrinating our children first?
Oh, it's pretty much what is basically taken their original conscious thoughts that they would get from the mental reservoir, or they would get from that conscious energy, and they're replacing that original thought and original concepts with something else. And when, like you said, Brother Dave, and I've implemented that into my conversation with my kids, the question is more important than the answer. But they are supplanting the ability for you to even ask the question when they program you with your symbol. So it just prevents us from even developing or getting the type of consciousness that we need to break this spell, because the symbolism is being taught at such a young age. Perfect example, the dollar. They don't sold us this dollar, this Federal Reserve note, and the symbol of it is wealth and prestige and all these other things, when the reality is it's a piece of toilet paper. So that's what I believe the importance is that they're getting to your children, to our children, before we have an opportunity to get to them by indoctrinating them with these symbols in every direction.
And I'm going to tell you, one thing, we got a couple of other callers. I want you to look at the back of a dollar bill. And hold on, everyone, hold on. I'm going to get to everybody. Hold on one second. I want you to look at the back of a dollar bill. I want you to look on the right side of it. And you'll see a eagle. And that's supposed to be the symbol of the United States. And if you know anything about eagles, eagles are savages. They're savage. Okay? Scavengers, excuse me. They're savage scavengers. They scavenge, okay? And if you look at it, you'll see that it has two wings that uphold the shield. The left wing and the right wing. And let me tell you, every time that eagle eats, it upholds and gives the ability for the left wing and the right wing to either give the arrows, the olives of peace, or the arrows of war. And basically what they're doing is that they are a constant threat to the whole world. Either do it our way or else we'll give you the pain. And this is the left and the right. Now, what do you think that left and that right is? That left and that right wing that they're showing you there shows that no matter what you think, no matter which team you decide to go on, the left wing or the right wing, they're both equally worthless to destroy you. And they keep you coming back and keep you engaged in this stuff so that you will not be and facilitate your true potentials to be sovereign and independent. Man, Tommy, you killed it. You killed it. My man Scotty said eagles are also the symbolatry of Rome, which I believe these people are trying to model themselves after. But, of course, Rome fell, so will the U.S. Inc. I have a comment on symbolism being used to uphold slavery. Yeah, let's get to you. Then I got, just so we know the order, we're going to get to Scotty. Then we got caller in Seattle. Then we got Brother Davis that's there. Tommy, hold on, brother. Just you set it on fire as always. Go ahead, Scotty.
Yeah, the conversation y'all been having on symbolism and the power that it wields through magic, like y'all said, like a magic trick and what have you. But that plays out prominently in how they've been able to convince not only the people of the United States, but the people of the world that USA Inc. abolished slavery in 1865. When if anybody with 12th grade reading comprehension can read the 13th Amendment and clearly see that exception clause leaves slavery in place and actually constitutionalizes it. So how do they push this lie? How do they keep pushing this lie? This symbology of Lincoln. They will even use our own people against us. Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, all these images, they show you in a context that would tell you a lie, and that slavery was abolished. It was never abolished. The 13th Amendment makes it clear, but they use a lot of symbology to sell that lie.
And don't forget the civil rights, Scotty. Don't let them off the hook. Don't let them off the hook. Because, it's so amazing. Most people that talk about civil rights, I always ask them, have you ever read the Civil Rights Act? 99.9% of them have never read the Civil Rights Act. So how do you know that this is in your best interest? If you have any form of reading comprehension, you'll see the devil is in the detail. It's an act of enslavement.
And which Civil Rights Act? They got a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, it's a bunch of them. It's
not just one or two.
All right. Yeah, it's a bunch. All right, so let's go to Brother Davis. We're going to come to you in 1 second. We got a caller out of Washington. 206, caller out of 206. What's your question or comment?
Oh, I had muted myself. Hello?
Yeah, hey, what's up, bro? How you feeling? Yeah. What's up, brother?
What's going on, man? I told myself I wasn't going to call in today. I didn't have time. I was listening on Tune In. But I heard a couple of things, and I had to call in, man. What's the name of that book that what's his name, TJ said?
The Golden Apple.
The Golden Apple. Okay, I'm going to look that up. But he just started talking about symbolism. I was like, man, I got to call in, man. He said something about the pants sagging. I was studying. This was a couple years ago, and it was something I was studying a lot of our ancient Egyptian stuff and our symbols and stuff. And I saw something in one of the pyramids that had hand signs in it. And I was like, and somebody was breaking down how it, it goes to today what we have as gang signs, which is why we were so, susceptible to accept that, and because it's something that's already embedded in our subconscious. And it's just like Brother Braggs was saying, everything is flipped upside down. So the same way we use the gang signs today is, and for negative light, they were used a long time ago. I can't remember everything that I read about it because this was a while ago, and it was at a time when I was in rapid study mode. When I'm in rapid study mode, I kind of teach something and I move on to the next. So, so I hate to even bring it up, but I had to at least bring it up. I'm gonna go back and study it again. Maybe I can bring it up, and maybe somebody else is saying the same thing. But I haven't heard.
I was just going to say, just bear in mind as we have this conversation, words are spells. So remember, how does the Civil Rights Bill, how do they keep having to write it? Because words are spells. It's English, English, and words in cursive. They don't use cursive no more, but you write the spells in cursive. So remember, that's how they was able to take a whole continent from people, because they rocked them to sleep with these spells, with these words. Now, you don't have to believe me, but when you start hitting this element, you're going to find out words are spells. They have power. They make things manifest.
Yep. Yeah. Well, yeah. When you say the etymology of words, you start learning the origin of them, where they come from, and everything you're saying is true. Because as Dave knows, I'm an actor, man, and I've been in Hollywood around these people and been on sets, seen how they do stuff. I've seen how they do stuff behind the scenes, and everything really is casting spells. And we ain't got to go into it right now, but I know magic. I didn't study the hell out of it. I know black magic, gray magic, white magic. I know hypnotic language patterns. When I hear them, I see them and hear them all the time. And don't say nothing to nobody. What else, man? I did spell casting.
Let me interject with something. We're here. I think when it comes to,
and then we're going to go to Brother Davis right after this. Brother Davis, we're going to come to you right after Tommy interjects here. Go ahead, Tommy.
Yeah, I think about when it comes to these energy and these spells that are casted. I think we as brothers and sisters got to now start paying attention to is this European observed us, and there was something going on within the manner in which we were communicating with ourselves and the manner in which we were treating ourselves. And were we using symbols and symbolism to manipulate our own? So I think that's kind of some of the things that we need to deal with, because it's easy to say the European cast is spelled, the European use words for this, the European use symbolism for this, but then we got to backtrack to say, brothers or blacks, Moors, we had to have been exhibiting this type of behavior that they observed for them to flip and turn it back around on us. So I think we might want to.
I just want to say one more thing before you go to Brother David. Now, everything you're right, and just everybody remember this: everything they know, we taught them. Everything they know, we taught them. We taught them. The masonry, everything they know, we taught them. So you're right.
Even talk.
Yeah. So
even the way we treat each other, we taught them that too. The way they've seen us that.
Yeah.
No, it's a little different because they flipped it. You got to remember that. When they created this state, when they gangstered this United States of America, we're talking about George Washington. You got to watch what them boys was doing. First of all, they was on the Quran. They wasn't on the Bible. Yep. Now, the people that came over here, they was on the Bible, on some dumb devious 1452, on orders from the Pope to subdue all cowans, whatever they wanted to call you, nappy-headed people. So that was a religious crusade. Man, and then,
hold on, Edward. Let me get to Brother Davis, just so that we can keep this going, because then we got to get ready to go to a commercial break, and this all has to do with you preparing yourself, because what you accept becomes who you are. So, Brother Davis, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, brother. How are you?
My brother Davis.
It's always good to hear the voice of a friend.
Yes, it is.
Let me start out with, first of all, because we are unique beings, regardless of what symbolism goes on around you, if you know nothing about it, it has no effect on you. Why? Because you don't know what it means. in reality, you have to submit yourself to that way of thinking to give it power. One. Two, we also have to understand that a lot of what goes on around us is based on its ability to deceive us. So if a person comes up to you and says, listen, I got a bag full of coins, and if you give me a $10 bill, I'll give you my bag of coins. And you reach out and you feel the weight of the bag of coins. Well, if you submit your $10, you get that bag of coins that might have 50 pennies and rocks. Or you can keep your $10 and keep right on moving, and that bag of coins doesn't bother. See, the importance that we must place is not on the things that go around us, but how we create our world in us. Everything that goes on outside of us don't really have anything to do with us if we don't submit to it. But when you open that door, it's like turning on that TV set. It's like giving that $10 bill. You have submitted. So therefore, anything that comes out of that, you are agreeing to some degree. So when you walk away with your bag of rocks and you realize it's only 50 pennies in a bag of rocks, all of a sudden the whole concept has a different effect on you because now you know the truth. And see, that's what we got to understand, that in America that has been built on deception, that is run by corruption, and lying is the basic principle of speech, and even the English language is considered the most deceptive language in the world. There is no way that you can utilize it to make you a better person externally. You can only do that internally, so it shows externally. But listen, brothers, I want to talk about tomorrow night's show real quick because the conversation here is real good. But since literally we're on this here path for conversation, I think what we need to do is give people the understanding of the importance of the bin bidat. Now, the bin bidat is supposed to be the place in which the first rays of God hit the earth. Now, some people call it the bin stone because that's where God is supposed to have stepped off onto the earth. But in reality, what it's saying is that is where the beginning of identification starts. And that's exactly what we're talking about, because you must identify these things and somebody must explain them to you for them to have control over you, and you submit to them. So tomorrow night's show is going to be the bin bidat. And I would suggest anybody or everybody, look it up, BENBEN dot. Sometimes you'll see BENBEN stone, but you'll see that it goes back to the ancient teachings of Egypt and the principles of why God opened this door to humans, knowing that he was giving them free will. And when you got free will, you have a right to choose right from wrong. You have a level of life, a higher self and a lower self. Just like there's a north, there's a south, an east, there's a west. So therefore, we have to be able to make the best decision that is suitable for us. And if you make the wrong one, any one of these theoretical conversations that we are having tonight becomes alive, because you opened the door, or you turned on the TV, or you turned on the radio to allow those things to enter into your temple. Okay, let me get back in the back room and be humble again, Brother.
Hold on, Brother Davis. Hold on. Scotty wanted some clarification. He asked that you would just answer to that. If you could, just hold on. We're getting ready to go to a commercial break. When we come out of a commercial break, if you would, Brother Davis, just answer Scotty's quick question. He says, I just want to ask Brother Davis a question. I just need him to clarify so that I can have a better understanding of something. So if you would, Brother Davis, definitely hold on. Like Brother Davis said, there's an east, there's a west, there's an up, and there's a down. There's a high and a low frequency. The determining factor of how that tool, that instrument will resonate is up to you. The execution of your free will. You're listening to Tando Radio Show, brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
Welcome to Verizon Wireless. The wireless customer you called is not available at this time. Please try your call again later. Announcement 1, split, 6, dash, 6. Welcome to
Black Talk Radio, your choice for digital black radio. New black media for the new.
Okay, welcome back, everyone, to Can't Go Radio Show, brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. I'm your host, Dave from LA. And if you'd like to get in on the conversation, don't hesitate. Give us a call, 866-510-9025, 866-510-9025, and hit star. Scotty, if you could unmute yourself, you had a question for Brother Davis. Brother Davis, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Brother
Okay,
Davis.
cool. Scotty had a question for you.
Hello, Brother Davis, and make sure you send my greetings to your wife as well. Looking forward to tomorrow's program. The question is for you because you just touched upon it, but it's really for anybody that's listening. I'm kind of confused. Excuse me if I'm not keeping up right now. I'm just very confused on some points that was made in terms of symbolism. Okay, for example, almost 5 years ago, when I found out by reading the 13th Amendment that the United States never abolished slavery, all right, I committed myself to being a new abolitionist, to mobilize and do whatever I can to bring it to people's attention and also do things behind the scenes to try to reverse that condition that exists here. So what I'm saying is, okay, what's confusing me is okay, I didn't know about slavery never being abolished. I was bought into the symbolism, and I was thinking along with everybody else, yeah, Lincoln freed the slaves and all this and that. And I felt like I was being negatively influenced by the symbolism. And even though nobody had explained to me what was going on, I still felt like I was impacted by that symbolism. And only by my quest for knowledge and reading were my eyes open to the fact that slavery was never abolished. So what I'm not understanding is the point that was made about if nobody explains it to you, explains, what this symbol means or what's the intent, that it will have no effect on you. Because even though nobody explained to me all of those things, it had an effect on me indirectly in that they made my little brother 10 years a slave. So that's my question. I'm just trying to get clarification.
Okay, brother. What you had was called a testimonial revelation. Because it wasn't part of your knowledge process, it wasn't like you were totally oblivious to it. It was the testimony of your experience that allowed you to dig deeper and have more information revealed to you. And as a vessel of trying to open that door for people to realize, look, this is happening. And we have to become knowledgeable of it so that we can prepare ourselves to do battle against it. Now, it becomes a part of you. You see, when something becomes a part of us, a lot of times we can't understand why someone else can't see it as clearly as we do. But before you had that tribulation, you were just like them. When you got your tribulation, you put a plan together and started working your plan because now you were exposed to what the truth is and you wanted it out there. And the best part about that, brother, is that then you begin to realize you weren't the only one that felt that way. It's just that other people may not have seen it as clearly as you saw it before you conveyed it to others. Did that help?
Yeah, I think he muted. And I want to add something to what Brother
Brother Davis, thank you.
I want to add something that Brother Davis said because he's absolutely right. Symbolism has no power until you allow it to be powerful in your life. And here's what I want to say for Scott. What happened was that it wasn't the symbolism so much. The symbolism is an afterthought as a reminder that you need to surrender.
the real power that you saw. I always like to say, I say the system, and people would say to me, well, what is the system? I say, well, it's like the wind. You've never seen the wind, but you've seen the effects of the wind. And the thing about this whole symbolatry that you see is that you see the symbolatry, but the symbolatry means nothing at all until when you have the symbolatry and then the acts of it. Because what you saw without if they would have took the symbolism away, it would still be an evil process and an evil system, because their actions, their directions, the free will that they have, they're using it in a malevolent way to adversely affect you. And they set up a systematic attack against every single person. Even if you don't see the symbols, you still feel the effects of their attack. And then what they do to make the great thought of magic work to get you to believe it, that's where you have the symbolism that comes in. And Brother Davis is absolutely right. Their symbols mean nothing because it has no living force, has no real life until someone surrenders to it. And I would say those individuals that have that free will to create this system that is actually subjugating and enslaving so many people, they made that choice. But you have an equal choice as they have, and you can decide not to allow that symbolism nor their energy and their actions to adversely affect you. It's not about our feelings, it's about our state of existence and our state of being. And that's just my opinion, and I totally agree with Brother Davis in that it doesn't matter what their symbolism is, because that same symbol can resonate in a high energy and have a different result. But it won't be the symbol that has a different result. It's the energy, because no symbol lives. It's the people that are upholding that symbol is what matters. The energy behind that symbol is the key to it all. So that was just, my overall thought process. And if you would like to comment on that, when we go into the commercial break, I have to mute everyone, and I didn't unmute some people that was there. Brother Braggs, I unmuted you, and Tommy, if you wanted to weigh in, I unmuted you as well. And I think this is all critical for us to understand. The most important thing is that we have to come to realize that we can create our own hell by giving our energy and our talents to those that have willed for hell to be on earth. Or we can start to remove ourselves from it and say, I'm not going to be a part of that. And I'm not going to give my energy to that. I'm not going to allow fear. I'm not going to give my feelings to that. I'm not going to give one bit of energy to it. And whatever I don't give energy to doesn't exist in my state of being. Because my state of being and your state of being is eternal. Yeah, go ahead, Tommy.
Okay, and I feel what you guys are saying, but are you telling me that a child or children who have not got an understanding of their consciousness can't be affected by symbols that are around them, whether they understand them or not? Say, for instance,
no, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I agree with you. They can be affected by symbols, subconsciously.
Okay.
Wait, can I add? The reason why I'm going to add right here is because you're talking about a child. A child follows examples. When a child is born, they don't know what to do. They have two things that happen naturally, and those two things are breathing and eating. Now, naturally, the other natural things kick in, but those are the first two things that they do. So if they walk around in their growth process and they see different statues and everything, those things will not have effect on them until someone starts to do something to demonstrate to them that there's a purpose for them. Or that child is just going to look at that as part of the household furniture. See, that's why it's so important that we as parents understand the role we play as examples to our children. That's like a child that you never discipline. But if the child doesn't see or hear erratic or irrational behavior, it learns to control its emotion by observing what it sees. But when the child reaches a point where it can make decisions then you will see the structure of the example in the child, because it's going to want to please the example. That's what makes the parenting process so important, and the mother as the nurturer being the greatest teacher. But I mean, that goes into a lot of other things. I just wanted to put that out there to let you know that children literally cannot be victimized unless someone is victimizing them, because they don't have the will in most cases to say, or the power over that authority that is exercising whatever over them to say no. That's why you see so much abuse today, because of children could literally have the voice to scream out. They'll be screaming about the abuse that's happening all over the world. And it's sad to say, but people have submitted themselves to negative deeds. And when you do that, your mind stays on that negative process. So therefore, until you take control, your mind's going to be victimized by your human side, because your human side has no control. That's why it's important to have a spiritual teaching, so that you'll have a path that you can follow and at least measure if you're going too far to the left or too far to the right.
Now, I'm going to quickly add that, a symbol comes after the intent of the energy. A symbol can't become before the intent of the energy. It comes after, and that's very, very important, because that symbol is symbolizing the presence. When there's malevolent energy, what it tries to always do is to try to make itself omnipotent and omnipresent by having itself scattered everywhere as an illusion that it has any controlling effect over things. But
I have a question.
It really doesn't. But the energy is just like a car is an inanimate object. It does not have any transferring until energy is interjected, just like any symbols. So until a symbol becomes symbolized by the energy that it's representing, it has no life force at all.
Dave, you just touched upon the question.
Just interject this. Episode 38 of Pokemon took out 700 kids who were sitting there being entertained watching it. They hit them with live fire. They went into epileptic seizures. You can Google that. I'm telling you, signals, symbols, subconscious, conscious, they affect you. You may not know what they mean, but as you move along in life, you have a program, and your mind picks them up, and it programs them. Even though you're not consciously programming them, it's in you. And they do have an effect, because when you playing with this TV, watching TV, they shoot so many images at you, so many symbols. Some of them satanic, some of them just the press for companies. But you always see the rising sign if you pay attention, and most of them signify the rising sign and phallic symbols.
Hey, Brother Brad,
So
you're right.
there's the energy that's behind that.
But you're right, but you have to understand, you said that they were watching. So that meant that they submitted themselves.
So they thought, right. They thought they were being entertained.
So therefore, once again, we come back to the deception process in order for something else to kick in. But if they weren't watching that, then they wouldn't have been victimized by it. But that, once again, is what is going on here in America on a multiplicity of levels. A lot of people look at it from the standpoint of insignias, but if you look at it on from speech to what you eat, to where you go, to how you get there, to what happens when you get there, the interaction going on, this deception is alive in every aspect of our lives, only because the system of white nationalism cannot operate without deception.
Based on deception.
Brother, hold on one second, everyone. Go ahead, Scotty. You had a question, and then Tommy wanted you to jump back in if you had a question or comment that you wanted to make before we get out of here. Go ahead, Scotty.
Yes. First, I have a question, then I have a quick story. It kind of ties into what Brother Davis just said about children. But my question is, are name brands, that can be a name brand car, that could be name brand clothing, that could be name brand whatever. Are name brands, would you classify them as symbolism? That's the question. Then I'll tell you the story.
The logo. It's the brand.
Absolutely.
Which you recognize by.
Okay. Now, the reason
because it's recognizing the energy that's behind it. But in itself, it's nothing. It's like a word. It's made up. Words are made up until they have intent.
Right.
Symbols are made up. They represent the energy that gives them relevance.
Okay,
But other than that, they mean absolutely nothing. Go ahead, Scotty.
I'm sorry. This is the story I heard yesterday. So I was driving to the store, and normally I just put it on sports talk radio. So I was listening to this black guy on this ESPN radio program talking about his son. He just had a son. His son is 7 weeks old. And so the white guy asked him a question about what kind of shoes are those in that picture. And he told him these are Louis Vuittons. This is a 7-week-old baby, right? He said these are Louis Vuitton shoes. And he was like, okay. He was like, well, what's the problem? He said, I wear Louis Vuitton and my son gonna wear Louis Vuitton. So the dude then asked him, he said, well, you also got a fleet of cars. Are you gonna buy your son a fleet of cars even though he can't drive? And so I was like shocked. He said, matter of fact, we're about to get him a Maserati. Now, I don't know if he was talking about a toy car Maserati or if he was talking about a real Maserati. This is a 7-week-old baby, right? And so then a black lady chimed in and she said, you know what? Them shoes look cute and all that. But when that child needs to walk, you need to buy that child some stride rice, because stride rice will be better for his feet than some freaking loafers, and it will help him with his balance and all of that. So then this guy said, oh, he don't need no stride rice. Ethiopians winning marathons running barefoot. I was so disgusted that this man was so bought into those name brand symbols that he is projecting that onto his child. And the last thing is, this is what he said about why he buys into name brands. He said that he gonna dress his child in all the best clothing because clothing makes the man. Not the parental upbringing, or the environmental influences in that home on that child. The clothes is what's gonna make you a man. I'm like, oh my God.
Yes.
Well, you know, that means that the program's working on him full blast. And the sad part about it is that those people who reach a certain degree of affluence feel that it's their right, where they fail to realize that the prospect of programming is on 24/7. You put a child, a 2 or 3 year old child, in front of a TV, and you let them watch McDonald's commercials 2 or 3 times on a Saturday. When they ride by Golden Arches, you know what they're going to do? Thank you. They're going to holler McDonald's because they don't know the name. They identify the arches. And see, this guy here who's playing the game of following the leader, because that's what he's doing. He's spending his money in the system the way the system wants him to, so his money can function for his people where it would literally serve a greater purpose. So therefore, what he's doing is working his way in the system and probably will tell you at a certain point that I'm not black, being black. The sad part about it is that when the system is in full effect, there are a lot of people out here who don't identify with being black. They call themselves everything but, because the system also brands people who are considered, should I say, affirmative black believers. They believe in just being focused on trying to be cultural understanding. But the system is designed to teach them opposite. So, yeah, like Scotty told you already, when he started Black Talk Radio, they was all on him. And probably to this day listen to every show, because they know that in this show, there's going to be something that comes out that's affirmative to black people. And what are they going to do with that knowledge? Because I'm going to tell you the biggest fear, white people's biggest fear, and this is why they make black people so fearful to white people. White people's biggest fear is that black people will wake up and understand the ancestral connection between their spirituality and who they truly are. Because when they do, they have no idea what they're going to do. They tell you now, we don't even know how they built the pyramids. So what are they going to do with black people who walk in the righteousness of the mystic arts, and they don't know what the limitation of those arts are? That's terrifying to them. So look, I'll sit back and listen, brothers. I mean, it's a great show.
Okay. Great. Okay, I want to give Tommy the last, because we got to get ready to get out of here.
Tommy, you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, but did you want to comment, or was there something I want you to end out the show, brother? Is there something that you wanted to give on in ending it out?
Oh, no, really. I was really waiting on Brother Rob to come on and take us on out, you know, with that knowledge that he be bringing. But more so, man, I just be tuning in every day,
Roz
man.
might be on the train. He's listening. Roz is listening, but he may be on the train.
Yeah, I'm waiting on his knowledge. But no, like I said, I'm just going to keep introducing brothers in the area I'm in. I do it all the time. I listen to you brothers every evening. So I just enjoy it. I love it, man. You brothers is on point.
Fantastic. Let me just end the show out. Let me put it this way, and I like to end it here. Your state of being is the most important thing, and is the true essence of who you are, in spite of all the propaganda. Your feelings is what the system needs you to always to be accountable to. And once you're accountable to your feelings, those feelings can be manipulated by so many diverse ways of magic and everything else. Nothing inanimate is living. Only thing that can live is something that has energy. And energy, ladies and gentlemen, is the key to your whole eternal existence. So we need to spend more time on what we are energizing, who we are, and not to give energy to things that will bring about our overall demise, or wasting our energy on inanimate things. So I just want to say to you all, much love, much respect, and this is the essence of who we are, the collective prudence among us all. It's never goodbye. It's always I'll see you later. And before you ask for a fortune, make sure to give one away. Much love, much respect. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.